Welcome back to the Smoke Trail. Today's guest is a dear friend and a pioneer in psychedelic integration. 6,000 hours helping people turn revelation into real life. Her new book is The Revelation Integration Method. Dani Brooks, welcome to the Smoke Trail.
Thank you, Smoke. It's good to be here.
And our studio has gotten better from last time.
Oh, it's amazing.
We did it in like a kitchen. It was episode 10 of season 1. And I was still playing around with the settings and the cameras, and so we had some issues. And we had baby Bodie running around. It was a little bit hectic, but this is a little bit more peaceful. And, the air quality is not great, but they can't tell that. But
No.
we have a fire raging in
Yeah.
the north side of town, and hopefully they're getting control of that. But
Yeah.
super excited to have you back.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in like a few days. We actually live 5 minutes away now, but this is a fun opportunity to introduce and talk about your new book and all the things you're working on. And I'm going to hold it up just to it's called the Revelation Integration Method,
Yes.
which has come out this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I see you've ramped up your social presence. You've been doing classes, and it's funny, like I keep running into people that you trained, like Sarah and other people like that you trained over the years in integration work, and now you've actually put it into a book, and you're putting it out there in a more formal way. So, well, let's just jump right in.
Let's do it.
What called you to write this book?
Well, this is my third book, and every time I've written a book, it's been because there was something that was within me that wanted to be shared. And so this is the accumulation of all of um, the tools, the wisdom, the methodologies that I've used over the years to help individuals with psychedelic integration. And so I just wanted to share it, just to get it out there. So it was time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's maybe a little the origin story. Like, how'd you start doing this work in the first place? Because that's kind of cool to kind of lead into. Now you've done it with maybe thousands, certainly hundreds of people.
Oh, thousands for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
But what was the first time that you helped someone with integration? Like, how'd you find out that you could do that?
Well, I was contacted by a good friend of mine who is an avid psychonaut, and he approached me and he says, Danny, you've created a platform using food as a platform for self-realization. What if we created a program or a platform using psychedelics to guide people through the self-realization process? And I was intrigued, and they had this special medicine protocol that they were playing with. And so they flew me down, and I experienced the protocol and fell in love with the protocol and said, yes, I will do that. And because I had put together coaching programs before, it was something that I was very familiar with. But within this industry, I had no idea. Like, there was no training. I was literally just thrown in, and I just started throwing things up against the wall to see what would work and see what didn't work. But my background working with negative thought patterns, limiting belief structures, ego, and emotional processing really came in handy. So yeah, no, I was just thrown into it and had to figure it out on the go.
And it's been the Wild West, right? So plant medicine and these various protocols, which include sometimes it's not plant medicine, but it's different medicines that help open people's hearts, open people's minds.
Yeah.
Everything from ketamine and MDMA to mushroom, psilocybin to other ayahuasca, other things. There's a whole range of these things. But from the beginning of time, humans have been consuming these things, and in some cases, it may well be some of the mystical people of history experience some of these medicines, but people have been dabbling in them and playing around with them in kind of an informal way. You've had shamans who kind of have a methodology and a protocol for the experience in the medicine.
Yes.
But a lot of that is for the day of the medicine or prepping up to it. And I don't know, you've worked with lots of people who administer the medicine. I think a big missing piece in people's experience is what do you do after? What do you do? You have this amazing experience. You might learn new things. You uncover some memories, good or bad. It can be wonderful, and it can be very traumatic. In my case, it was very traumatic. But then what do you do with that, right? And I love this quote I have from you. It says, "Without integration, the journey becomes a beautiful story you once told. With integration, it becomes who you are."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do we do with the information that we're gifted with in a journey? Oftentimes, we have to translate it. And if let's use a couple of examples. Let's say somebody goes into the medicine space and they experience their divinity in whatever way resonates with them. If they have a spiritual background of maybe Catholicism, and they receive that information that's gifted to them in a way that they can receive it. Or if there's everyone receives these revelations differently.
Hmm.
But let's just say an individual experiences their divinity. Oh, right? Now
Mountain is blowing.
the sun's coming down,
Yeah.
right? And so then they come home and then they've got to go right back into their family, their life, their work. And so translating that becomes, how do we maintain, embody, remember through anchoring and other tools and tips and strategies to help that individual acclimate to their divinity? How can we help them to cultivate awareness, to be more present, to use a breathing, maybe box breathing, or just a real calm, just like an in breath, pause, exhale, pause, just to bring them back to where they can reconnect with their divinity so that they don't forget it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's so easy to jump back into the real world, your normal life, and fall into the same patterns, right?
Right.
Because we're beings of pattern, and you get the same issues you have at home or the issues you have at work, and normal stressors and things that are in this existence happen,
Yeah.
and it's super easy just to kind of fall back into your automatic response and like the way you've always handled things,
hmm
even when you had a profound experience, if you don't do this work.
If you don't do this work. And here's the thing, when people understand that these medicines, they're neurological resets. Like like let's just say this is your brain. You've got a negative thought pattern that's maybe this wiring. Maybe it's a limiting belief that's here. Maybe it's an emotional imprint, pain from the past, or some ego activity.
Hmm.
These medicines get in there and they interrupt those patterns, giving us an opportunity to create new patterns as soon as we get home. So that's the best time to begin to start creating new patterns, is immediately after medicine work. So I always advise people to take at least 2 to 3 days after a medicine experience to let the experience settle within them so that those neural connections don't just go back and
Hmm.
reconnect. If people go right back into their daily routine, act as if nothing happened, then they lose a really beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, and those neuro pathways get strengthened and hardened over time the more they're used.
Mhm.
So the interrupt is the opportunity to kind of build new ones around those old ones,
Yep.
um, and then you have to use that. You have to use the new ones to strengthen them,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yes.
yeah, I just saw an article like in the last week that had they had some profound example of patients, Alzheimer patients, who had um, been in psilocybin plant medicine
Mhm.
and got like a huge portion of their memory back and became kind of like themselves for a window.
Mhm.
I think it didn't necessarily last, but that's probably because you have to reinforce these things. It's not a permanent reset unless you reinforce them. But it was a pretty strong statement by this group.
We don't know yet what these medicines can do. They're being studied a lot for anxiety,
Mhm.
depression, post traumatic stress disorders. But underground, how we're using them underground is completely different than what's happening within the studies.
Right.
And we're seeing a lot of miracles happen.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. The neuroplasticity, mushrooms are fabulous for the neurological system in the brain and rewiring the brain for sure.
Yeah. I mean, if I could, no one's going to let me do this, but if I could give America a 250 birthday gift, I would just give everybody a good dose in the water of psilocybin and MDMA for the day, and just see what happens. Now, I know that could cause some issues.
We'd want to prep them.
It could cause some issues, and there'd be a lot of people that would not be happy with me. But if I could wave a magic wand, I would do that.
We'd have to do a broadcast to America. Hey, America, we're going to give you some mushrooms. This is how you prepare.
But you could do a big broadcast integration for
Yeah,
everybody.
we could do a prep call for
The whole
everybody.
country could
How to
do an
prepare,
integration.
how to navigate the space, how to set the intentions, what
Yeah.
to do if things go sideways. How to ground.
All right. Well, that's why they're not letting me be in charge of the water supply.
It's probably pretty good.
Yet, but it is part of my platform that I'm running on. Well, so one of the things that we talked a lot about my own experiences last time, because you helped coach me through my integration, and now when I was looking through the book and I was kind of like realizing like it's more than just a few practices. You've really organized it into kind of three buckets, right? Preparation, stabilization, and embodiment. And maybe we could just take a few minutes and just talk about each of those buckets.
Sure.
Like what goes into those?
Sure.
What does it mean? What do you mean by preparation? So what is the work we do ahead of time?
Yeah.
And then we'll hit each one separately.
Okay.
All right.
So start with preparation.
Yeah.
All right. So preparation, this is where I'm a firm believer in setting intentions. And so when I work with someone, or what I teach my students is that when you're having the pre-call, it's why here, why now, why do you want to take the medicine? And then they begin telling me, well, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. And I'm literally like, tell me more, tell me more. And I'm beginning to basically just map out their patterns. So they'll be like, okay, there's this unworthy, there's this fear, there's this people pleasing or over responsibility or control or whatever the patterns are, right? And then we'll begin to pattern map. And then we'll take it down and we'll see if we can find a core pattern. So for instance, if we got rid of the unworthiness, if you experience yourself completely worthy just as you are, would this one, and this intention go away?
That's what you did with my YPO forum when you were coaching us. And it wasn't with plant medicine, it was just, we were going, but the process works regardless.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just remember, each of us took turns, surfacing. I know you had pre-calls and stuff. So we surfaced some things that, were challenges. These are all really successful people, but it doesn't matter where you are in life. Everyone has these different challenges.
Yep.
And so everyone did that, and we kind of surfaced, this is coming up, this is happening. And you, through inquiry, kind of kept going a layer deeper to, well, if we got rid of that, would this still be the case?
Right.
And, the answer is no. Okay, then let's go deeper. And then when you get to that, whatever that is, unworthiness or whatever the more core wound is or whatever, issue, if you got rid of that, would this go away? The answer becomes yes.
Yes.
And it's yes to all those things that were listed.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to take into the medicine space.
Yeah.
So now we have a core intention. Then it's really important that once you set the intention to know, like you know that it can happen. Individuals that go into the medicine space and they believe that they can achieve what they're going after, 99% of the time, it will happen.
Yeah.
If there's belief there. If there's an individual that's just like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think it's going to work, then it's going to contribute to their result.
Yeah.
Okay. So belief is a big part of it.
They're coming in with resistance.
Yes.
Which, and that's just the human mind, the human will is literally unstoppable. I mean, if you believe something fully, it will happen.
Yes.
And so that's a great example. Going into medicine, the medicine is helping unshackle that mind, unshackle, break some of the pattern bonds that have been built over the years, the calcification of who you've become. And if you believe going in and you have this clear intention, the medicine is like supercharges that intention.
It's how we create.
Yeah.
Intentions are how we create. We set the intention, and then through awareness, we stay in alignment with that intention, right? And so if we know that intentions are how we create, so why not take that into the medicine space?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, so that now we have the intention, and then we're bringing them into alignment with the belief. Now, do you believe that this can happen? Well, it would need to happen in order for you to believe that this can happen.
Yeah.
And then we see if we can bring them into alignment with the intention. And then we have them let go of any expectations as to what's going to happen. And that's the big one. Like, people might have this attachment to, oh, I'm going to go in and it's going to be, or I'm going to go in and I'm going to be puking up the whole time.
Yeah.
And we never know what's going to happen in the medicine space. So, having people let go of any expectations they have is very important. We try and do the best that we can, right?
Yeah.
But people will still go in with their expectations. But what happens is oftentimes in the medicine space, it will fulfill the intention, but not in the way the individual thought that it would.
Right. Like if you want to be a more patient person, divine will might give you some things that cause you to have patience, right? Which would be, you better be careful what you ask for. Yes.
Yes, you might be hacking up anger the whole time. I had one gal that I was working with who, she said her core intention for, I just want to experience more joy. And she went into the medicine space and she cried the whole time, and she dealt with pain, and she had flashbacks, and she came out of the medicine experience and she says, Dana, it was the worst experience ever. And she goes, I'm never going to do this again. And I'm like, hold on. In order for you to experience joy, sometimes we need to have more space.
Yeah.
So this might have been in the way of your joy. So now let's just be curious. Now we want to investigate. Now we want to go into the revelation integration method fundamentals. We want to, investigate and be curious and explore.
Yeah. That was definitely my experience, when I asked the Buddha for peace and love, and then I got the opportunity to sit with Yvonne for my first intentional plant medicine experience. And those were the things that were at the top of my sheet. He's like, don't worry about everything else, just think about that.
Yeah.
All the dark shadows, all the things that the trauma, the childhood trauma, all the stuff that had to come up.
Yeah.
To get there. And it was the opposite of what I thought I was getting.
Yeah.
But it's how it works.
Happens a lot.
Yeah. Prepping for the journey, navigating the medicine space. So what are those things? So we set their intentions, and
so we've set the intentions, and let go of expectations. Now we want to teach depending upon the medicine. So let's say somebody's going in for an ayahuasca retreat. And one of the things that's really important for them to know is that, like, many people think that when you go into the medicine space, you need to just surrender and let go. And that is true. That is very, very true. And if something happens, if something goes dark, let's say that there's this dark energy that comes into the journey space, we want to teach the individual that they have sovereignty. They can say, medicine, no, I'm here for healing, and I can heal in love just as much as I can heal. I don't need to heal in the darkness. We can call in our guides.
So surrendering it is real, but you can guide it. Like we have a rudder of some kind.
Yes.
That's, it's a rapids. So you're going to go down the rapids.
Yeah.
But you can steer it.
You can.
And say, no. I always love your swipe left, swipe right of thoughts, right? Same thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no, bring me something better.
Yeah.
And that's still surrendering, but it's like directing it
without controlling it.
Right.
Only directing it if it gets dark or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this is where, we kind of have to really cultivate awareness to discern, okay, is this just an uncomfortable purge that I'm avoiding? Or is this really darkness that I don't need to experience right now? So teaching people how to discern the difference between the two, so that they're not avoiding their healing or the difficult parts of the journey. So that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, but sovereignty is very, very important with many medicines. Some medicines you're just holding on for dear life, and your ability to you're just holding on for dear life. But other ones, and actually in pretty much any medicine experience, we do as we acclimate and get used to the medicine experience and we know how these medicines work, then we can ground and center and balance ourselves within the journey itself, which is different type of mastery.
Yeah, yeah, it's really a it's some of the same muscles that meditation gives us as we are able to witness our thoughts and emotions in life as we're kind of out there in the real world, and we feel these things happening, and we can let them happen and not react to them, because they're here, just their energies.
Yeah.
And those energies get intensified in medicine. So it creates an extra reaction if you haven't experienced it before and you don't have that mind that's able to witness,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's been my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
So I think
And
yeah.
that's the most challenging piece for so many people
Mhm.
is the gap between the stimulus and the response.
Yeah.
Right? That how do I take that? How do I just take that little pause and then I can choose my reaction. I can choose my response instead of automatically reacting. And if we can't do that in real life, the chances of being able to do that in the medicine space is going to be small.
Yeah.
But we can strive.
Yeah. And just so as we move to kind of stabilization, before we do that, I think there's a lot of people doing this obviously because you're kind of in this ecosystem.
hmm
I do too, and it's through my lens as a YPO or CEO. A lot of people in that circle have now experienced medicine or are experience or doing it in
hmm
real time. And I think there's a whole range of experiences based on how much do they even understand what we're talking about. Because a lot of times you get invited, this is going to be a cool retreat. You've got the resources, you go, you pay the money, you go, and it might be a wonderful experience. You might have a great teacher or not, but you haven't necessarily done a lot of prep work.
hmm
And so this is like a really important step, regardless of where you do it, how you do it, going through this preparation and setting your intentions and kind of going at it with really clear eye, like what are you trying to get out of this before you
hmm
go join your group that's going to do this, will pay off dramatically.
Huge.
Yeah, no matter who it is, where it is,
Yeah,
and what medicine it is.
that's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Want to jump to stabilization?
Sure.
All right, what does it
Okay.
mean?
Stabilization. Wow. Well, again, if we go back to the neurological reset, right, where these medicines literally blow us apart. So we can, in a lot of ways, the word fracture comes to mind. Fracturing identity can be a thing that really happens.
Mm-hmm.
People go into the medicine space and who they thought they were turns out that's not who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe they're in the process of transitioning in identity, and so it can be really earth shattering to go into the medicine space with one idea of the self and then land with a completely new understanding. And that requires stabilization.
Mm-hmm.
So stabilization is the grounding, the centering, the balancing, the harmonization of the energies, the acclimation to the information. It's speaking with the individual and being with the individual in such a way that it's like, you're okay. Hold on. Let's just let the nervous system settle.
Yeah.
Let the whole body structure settle spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. That person went through complete,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's depending on how much awareness you have of what reality is, and it's everyone has a
hmm
slight different perspective on it,
hmm
but there's a complete materialistic view, like the physical world is all we are, and we have this, and like so there's one on the continuum, kind of
Yeah.
one bucket, and on the other bucket it's like, oh no, we're all love and light, and we're just having this experience in a physical form.
hmm
And you'll move up that continuum in these experiences and at different times with different different knowings that you get in those in medicine. And that can be really disrupting, like to realize like, oh, we're really energy, everything's energy, and it's just vibrating at different speeds and density. And then you're like, because I know, because when I first started discovering this, I was like, wait a minute, what the heck? And I was like, well,
Yeah.
what's the point of going to work? What's the point of doing this? What's the point of doing that? And so I definitely had a period of time where I was like questioning everything.
Yeah.
And and that took it took a little while, right? It wasn't like an instant, okay, now I'm aware of everything and I'm perfect. No, it takes time to
Yeah.
stabilize.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
I
Yeah.
think you met me, I was less stable at that time then. Many around me wished.
Well, people are like, if we just look at some people that we might have in our inner circles, some of those individuals might not be stable. They might be experiencing anxiety.
Hmm.
They might be collapsing under the pressure of their life. They might be dealing with severe depression, post-traumatic stress disorders. There's so much instability that's going on within the collective,
Hmm.
just without the plant medicine.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really important about stabilization is, like, right now with the psychedelic communities, there's a lot of destabilization that's happening. And one of the things that we would like, or that I would like to see within these communities, is to start looking at this in it from a different perspective, and through integration, creating this medicine work in a way that creates more stabilization.
Hmm.
So, like, I had one fellow, and this is a really good example. He came to me, he was referred to me because he'd had an ayahuasca ceremony one day, psilocybin ceremony the second day, 5-MeO DMT the third day, and he was blown apart. Talk
Hmm.
about destabilization,
Yeah.
fractured of identity. He didn't know who he was, he didn't know what was real. So we hop on the call and we get him grounded and we get him back into his body and we get his nervous system to calm down and we get him centered, and then we get him to a place where he's just okay, he's here, he's solid, he's present, he's in the now moment.
Hmm.
And he starts talking about how he's going to be opening up these medicine centers all over the world. And I said, well, hold on a second. If you're opening these medicine centers all over the world and you're destabilizing people like this, you're not contributing to global stability or the grid stability of the
Hmm.
planet. You're destabilizing it. However, if you were to set these medicine locations up at specific places on the globe with the intention for stabilization, now you're going to have an impact on the collective.
Yeah.
So I think this is a perspective, or something that medicine centers really, I would like to see them consider as including integration in their services, not only because it helps with the stabilization of the individual after they land, it protects their back.
Yeah.
Most medicine servers or providers don't even know what happens to their client after they get home.
Right. Well, sorry. So I'm going to scratch my idea of putting it in the water supply,
Yeah.
because that might be a little destabilizing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So
probably, yeah.
revise my plan. We're gonna have a
Maybe microdose.
all right, microdose. We're not gonna do a big dose. It's gonna be very mild.
Okay,
It's gonna be
okay.
very mild. But yeah. So that makes a lot of sense to me. And sometimes destabilization is needed, right? Like it's gonna
Yes.
to disrupt a pattern, disrupt
Yes.
very dense
Patterns,
patterns that have been ingrained for a long time.
beliefs.
But there's a gentle way to guide through that.
Yes.
Right? It's like, yeah, you might become a little destabilized, but if you've got there's a system in place, whether it's a
Yes.
person who's helping, which is the best, or even just if someone is able to do it and absorb what you're teaching, they can
Yeah.
follow your guide in your book and
Yes.
actually do it themselves a lot.
Yes.
And ideally they do that both, right?
Yeah.
They have the book, they understand it, and they get a coach and a guide who can help
Mhm.
them before and then they have the experience, and then after.
Yes, and I think that's a very, very good point. If we kind of look at the human structure as architecture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so let's say I've got a belief structure and I go into the medicine space, that's a collapsing of the architecture of that belief structure.
Mm-hmm.
And so the integration then becomes stabilizing the new set point. What's the new architecture that's now emerging?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
really
That's part of the
powerful.
process. Yeah, it's very powerful.
Anything else on stabilization? What about navigating difficulty? Is that something that you want to mention?
Yeah,
Bring up?
navigating difficulty is when individuals are in the medicine space.
Okay.
Navigating difficulty becomes breathing, and relaxing some more.
Yeah.
If things get dark, then we can exercise our sovereignty and say, no, I'm here to process in love. It can be if, let's say, that you're in a ayahuasca journey and you're having a difficult time purging something. Navigating difficulty can be relaxing and surrendering and allowing the medicine to work through you instead of you trying to be the one that's like struggling through it.
Yeah.
So in the book I talk about there's a lot of tools for navigating various difficulties.
Mm-hmm.
Another difficulty might be an individual that goes into the medicine space and their partner's not interested in personal growth or evolving the relationship. So they go into the medicine space and they have their revelations, and then they're going home to an unsupportive individual or an unsupportive environment. And so, things that we can do to help that individual navigate that situation.
Mm-hmm.
How can they stay centered in who they are without being affected by that environment? So, there's all kinds of suggestions in the book about how to navigate difficulties.
Yeah, and I've personally had both experiences where I had very disturbing things happen in medicine, particularly when I was doing medicine alone, which I know no one recommends, but
Well, it's one of those things you can get skilled at.
yeah,
You
yeah,
start little by little and you do it intentionally. You can get very skilled at it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But jumping in the deep end of the pool without having some experience and knowing it is probably not recommended. But that's what I did. So, but I had some really traumatic experiences, and I got very afraid a few times, like really scared.
Yeah.
And fear feeds on itself. It's like the worst reaction you can have because it's like that's what empowers thought forms and dark energies and everything else is fear. And it wasn't until I realized this, I was like, okay, there's nothing to fear except for fear itself. It really is a true thing.
Yep.
So if you face demons with love, like literally love,
Yep.
they usually go whoop,
Yep.
and disappear, or they just melt, or they just like transform.
Yeah.
But those energies can't really handle that. And I talked about this on, I did a talk on removing entities and what I experienced with Yvonne in my last, where I was sitting as an angel, and he removed an entity from one of the men who were participating in the group, and it was a powerful experience to witness, just to see that. And he's told stories about it, like when he had one experience where there was some woman in the medicine was acting very strange, and he went over to her and he looked in her eyes, and they were all black, and there was a demon, and there was absolute demon possession. And he leaned forward and he smiled and he said, "I love you." And it went, and then her eyes cleared up. So like it's just such power to know that none of this stuff can withstand if you hold that space.
Absolutely. One of the demographics that I've worked with is veterans. And these are individuals who have fought their whole life. And they'll go into the medicine space and they'll just like fight the demons and fight the demons and fight the demons. And of course, as soon as you cut off one head, two heads grow.
Right.
And fighting doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when I can plant the seed of, no, if that happens, just go up to them and give them a hug. Tell them that you love them. They'll literally just disappear right before your eyes, and they do every single time.
And we all like in a number of spiritual traditions and religious traditions, Archangel Michael is depicted with a sword, right? And he shows up, I think, in not just Christianity, but in several of the Western religions. But that sword, and in the pictures and in the statues, you see him like slaying a demon, but it's actually the sword of truth.
Yeah.
It's the sword of love, and that sword is invincible to all those things if you hold it properly. But it's not actually like a sword like kill them. It's a sword that like dissolves them through that.
One of my teachers and mentors, Hamilton Souther, he's created a technology for the medicine space that he calls Sanctuary, and it's really beautiful. And it's how to journey safely and how to create a space that's safe and sacred, that's, divine and safe. And one of the things that I really love about Sanctuary is that all beings are welcome there. And I remember in one of my journeys, because I was going through his training, so I was required to be in the medicine space every week for almost a year. I didn't do every week. I did like 3 times a month for an entire year.
Yeah.
But when you do that, you learn to navigate the medicine space. And of course, eventually you're going to have that experience. And so I had a couple of what I would call negative energies, demons, whatever we want to call them, come into the space. And I was literally like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, okay, you guys are welcome here, but you're in Sanctuary. You need healing too, and you're welcome here. So cop a squat. I called in my guides, I called in Source and reinforced Sanctuary. And sure enough, they just like kind of sat down right in front of me. And then they kind of stayed there for a while, and then they just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And so I love this idea of, instead of resisting or fighting or
had you gotten scared,
love them.
had you gotten scared and like tried to fight them, that empowers them. And then this is working, right? That's how they get energy. Yeah. So it's really good to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
I can assure you that
integration is valuable.
It's way better to know this before you do the medicine and not like discover it afterwards. Like, oh, I could have used those tools when I was fighting that demon that one time and that other time.
That one time at band camp.
It was not fun. Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I had a dream the other night, and I told Nitra, and I was like, I actually was face to face with what I thought was the devil, it was a demon of some kind. And in my dream, I was present enough to know that, and I reached out to hug it. And I'm like, and it scared me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it kind of woke me up.
Yeah. There was another fellow that I was working with who was in this in ceremony, and a demon came in and he's like, "Hey, dude, could you just protect me and keep me safe?" And it just stood there the whole time and was just like, "Yeah, I got your back."
Recruited it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to embodiment.
Okay.
Because stabilization is really the next step. Once you've done it, now you've stabilized, you're not freaking out. You're kind of like, okay, I'm okay with this. But now, what does embodiment mean? Like, what does that actually mean to you? And how do we think about that?
So embodiment is, well, examples are the best part of this, for best way to describe this. So embodiment is if someone goes into the medicine space and they experience their worthiness. Embodiment is when they go home, are they staying in alignment with that? Are they remembering that? Are they maybe journaling about it? Are they acclimating to it? Are they exploring it? Are they being curious about it and investigating what that is? And then as they integrate that, the embodiment piece is when they go, oh, that has landed within me. It is so there. It is so done. I am good to go. They've embodied it. And embodiment happens with anything that we're releasing. So let's say like negative thought patterns, right? Somebody's got a habit of just beating themselves up like crazy, and they go into the medicine space and they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing that thing. And then they come out of the medicine space and they're very, very clear, and their mind might be very, very quiet. but that pattern may still be running in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they get home after the experience, they may need to cultivate awareness and constantly go, oop, old pattern working its way out. Oh, there it is again. I'm beating myself. Nope, I'm
Right.
not going to do that time. So they have to stay after it over and over and over again until it's gone.
Yeah.
And that would be embodiment of a new way of
Eh,
being with oneself.
That makes perfect sense. And like to me, because these are long-standing patterns that we've developed,
Mm-hmm.
and you've disrupted them.
Yep.
So you become aware of it. So it's
Yep.
now moved from the Johari window in the blind space up to the open space.
Yeah.
But the pattern and the energy pattern is still there, and there may be still like there's layers and layers of release of this stuff.
Yeah.
And it takes repetition and some discipline.
Yes.
So like just the journaling activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reminding yourself through journaling what you're experiencing each day and recontextualizing it with that remembrance
Yeah.
is one way to disrupt those patterns and make
Yep.
them permanent, right?
Yep. Yeah. Other examples of embodiment would be like the common directives that people receive in the medicine space are like just love, just be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how do we take those and translate them to what does that look like here on the ground? So, the embodiment of just love would be okay, so now what is the action or non action step that requires? Are you hugging your partner more? Are you just maybe putting your hand on their back while they're doing the dishes? Are you telling them that you love them more? How is that love being expressed? How is that love being embodied? And that requires, like, people will have a lot of fear around loving because it hasn't been safe in the past for them
Mm-hmm.
to love. And so they might have to move through this, okay, they're doing the dishes and I want to touch them, but what if I get rejected? But I want to touch them, but what if I get
Yeah.
rejected? What's going to happen, right? So they actually have to take the action step to actually touch that person and express the love in order for them to get more comfortable with what it looks like and feels like to embody more love in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also when they take that risk to be okay with whatever the reaction is.
That's right.
Right? Because you might not get the reaction you want.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Because it's so new or it's so different, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
what's up?
Yeah.
What is this? What do they want?
Oftentimes
Right?
that will happen. Yeah. Yeah.
So like, and so
Yeah.
you don't take that risk and then feel immediately rejected in some way because there's resistance there. It's just coming from love, being love means you don't need a reaction.
That's right.
You don't need approval or and if you get disapproval, so be it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter actually
Mm-hmm.
if you come from love.
And that's what people need to experience and need to be taught
Mm-hmm.
is that that's already within you. So how do we align with love? How can we remain unmovable in love or in our beingness, in the truth of who we are, no matter what's happening with the world around us? And that takes practice. And of course, we fail and then we get back up and we do it again. And then we fail and then we get back up and we do it again. It's little by little by little.
So I'm gonna offer you, if you want this seat and be out of the sun, if you want to switch.
I would love that.
Okay. All right. Because I'm noticing that you're in sun and I'm not, and we might as well just make the switch. And
Oh,
I'm happy to be in the sun
okay.
for a little bit. You want your coffee over there?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. So what are there some techniques or like actual practical things that people use to get that embodiment?
Okay, the practical steps. These are the brass tacks. This is literally if they, let's say, let go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just let go, let go, let go.
Mm-hmm.
And this might be for the person who has control issues, right? So how do they let go of control? So that would be, okay, instead of putting the dish immediately into the dishwasher, maybe let it sit in the sink and sit with some discomfort. of not doing that
No,
thing that needs to be
I have
done.
that no problem.
Yeah, I know, but some people
I
don't,
know.
right?
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm
so
kidding.
wherever the control is coming in, it would be taking those little steps, right? Okay, another thing like let go. People will come out of that experience. They'll be like, "Well, how? How do I let go?" That's the translation part of
Yeah.
it. And I'll say, "Okay, like right now, take a nice deep breath and let everything just relax. See how your shoulders just kind of drop, so you know how to let go."
Hmm.
That's the letting go, the energy of releasing.
Yeah.
So teaching them that that's the energy of releasing and that's the energy of letting go.
It really is that. It's like that you may want to let go, but you don't know how to, right?
Right.
And there's simple techniques like that. But I just did with Jennifer's mom. I just had cranial sacral, treatment. Now the second one,
Mm-hmm.
yes, or Thursday, and she's she's somehow able to kind of get organs and pieces of fascia that are connective tissue in different spots to release that I have no idea how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she described it, I loved, which was after the session, she's like, I'm like the thumb against your hand, or an extra hand to untie the knot. You're doing it. Your body is doing it, but I'm able to help direct it and give like the pressure that you need to push against to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a really interesting
Beautiful.
kind of way to think about it, but
Yeah,
it's amazing.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, anything that they feel like they're over responsible for, like that's a big one. People like taking care of other people before they
Mhm.
take care of themselves. It creates some discomfort when they don't do that.
Right.
So, what are the little steps that we can have them do to acclimate to being okay to not taking care of other people
Right.
and to help them emotionally process the discomfort that arises when they try doing it something new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that resonates a lot.
Mhm.
Um, what else? Anything else that we're missing on stuff that you want to share
Yeah.
at this stage?
Yeah, yeah. So I think there's so many there's so many tools. I think the main tools that I give clients is the cultivating awareness,
Mhm.
right? Because this is the one exercise, not just the only one, but it's one exercise that creates that pause between the stimulus and the response.
Should we do it?
Between, yeah, let's do it. That would be
Okay.
great. Okay. So,
I'll follow your lead.
okay. Keep your eyes slightly open and maybe directed down at about a 45-degree angle, and become aware of the sounds around you. Maybe there's a whirling fan, background noise. We've got some beautiful birds chirping in the background. Become aware of your body and where it's located in the room, the car, wherever you are. Become aware of your feet. Maybe even wiggle your toes. Become aware of your legs, your hips. Feel the weight of your body. Feel gravity. Release your belly. See if you can become aware of your heartbeat. If the mind is active, that's okay. Just tell it to chill out a little bit. We're doing a little exercise here, and redirect your focus back to your heartbeat. And become aware of the aware presence that is you residing in that physical body. Awareness, presence. beingness. This is what I call the point before creation. Usually quiets the mind, because when we shift our focus from the headspace and we go down into the body, it shifts the energy. Most people are caught up in the chaos and the compulsion that's all up and through the headspace. So becoming aware of the sounds in the room increases awareness. And then shifting into our body quiets the mind. So we literally can rise above the plane of mental thought, where we can experience peace. From that point, then if people pay attention to what's the next thought that just comes in that your mind wants to bring you, then we become the observer, where we can go, oh, there's the thought. Now I'm not identified with it. Now I can choose, do I want to accept that into my reality, or do I not want to accept that into my reality? So that's a really powerful tool that I use a lot.
And you can do that in any situation, anywhere you are, in a traffic jam, in a meeting. You can take a quick break. You can excuse yourself, go to the restroom, take a moment.
Yep. And once you do it, it can be really fast. You can literally go sounds in the room, body, release the belly, heartbeat. Boom, I'm centered. There I am. That's me. Now, instead of knee-jerk reactions, now I can go, okay, now I'm choosing what I want to do and how I want to respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really powerful. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Another really good one is like a 1-1-1-1 breathing pattern, where you breathe in through the nose, pause, exhale through the mouth, pause. Real quick, just gets you centered and grounded. And then from that place, we can remember the psychedelic revelations that came through in our journey. Like if we experience the divinity, boom, there it is. One thing that's real important for people to know too is that many of these experiences create purging. And so when someone has completed a big purge, they might feel empty. And that's normal. And that's a good thing, right? There's like this cycle of healing that people go through. We know the path. There's the letting go phase, letting go of the negative thoughts, the belief structures, the ego activity, the emotional pain and the grief and the shame from our past, letting go, letting go. And then oftentimes when people are letting go, they get to a point where they're like, holy moly, who am I? And that's identity crisis, which is good. So when someone's experiencing that, I always say, congratulations. Yeah. When you
It's
don't,
working.
yeah, when you don't know who you are, you're closer to knowing who you are than ever before. And so teaching them how to be empty of identity, empty of the stories of the past, can be really valuable. And then people will experience their divinity. And that's an integration process all in its own. During this cycle, oftentimes one thing that we do have to be aware of, especially with these medicines, is spiritual significance. Because it's just when we discover who we are and what we are, it's just so delightful. The ego just wants to claim it for itself and run with it. So that's where we got to pull ourselves down by our ankles and go, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm extraordinary, and so is everybody else. And it's not linear. Some people will experience their divinity first and then go through the letting go process. Some people will go straight to spiritual significance. Some people will go straight to identity crisis. But in general, those are kind of like, that's the healing pattern that I see.
Yeah, because it's like a big surprise when we realize the divinity within. And it's like, wow, could it be that good? Could it be that great?
Yeah.
And that can easily cause inflation. But I think it's just, but it's normal. Like it happens. Like it goes up and down a bit, and we're all of the same divine essence, and it's just covered up more or less.
And we're individualized.
Right. In this, yeah, we're definitely individualized, but it's all one. So like we're, in this realm where we are living in an individualized experience. But I think it's, it's definitely, it takes getting used to.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause it's kind of like, yeah.
Yeah, because in order to get there, we have to give up who we are, who we
Hmm.
think that we are. And that can be a very challenging process. Yeah.
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 The ego.
I like the, there's lots of approaches to that, right? And a lot of the historic methods or technologies, think of like Zen, which is kind of stark in my mind,
Yeah.
have been about, ego death and like, you know,
Hmm.
killing all thoughts and just like being. And I think what's come to me a lot in the last year, and we've talked about this a little bit, but the whole embodiment thing, and it's really the feminine approach, the feminine energy of embodiment in feeling that inside the body. And, everyone from, different teachers that I've experienced, the Judith Blackstone, um, who has her process and is very much in the body. She was a dancer and figured it out
Hmm.
when she had an injury and had to lay there with her injury and saw and healed herself, but it was very much an embodied process. Um, Dr. Sue, I've been, recently
Yeah.
really enjoyed, and her approach is absolutely a feminine embodiment, kind
Hmm.
of feeling the energy and
Yeah.
focusing on building the channels that handle the energy as opposed to focusing on what are the blocks,
Mm-hmm.
right? So just
Hmm.
building those channels to
Yeah.
allow it. Anyway, there's different approaches, and there's not one right one for everyone, but there's different technologies, and like meditation is a technology. You don't
Yeah.
think of it that way, but
Yeah.
it's a technology that's been developed for thousands of years by humans who have figured things out.
Mhm.
And a lot of these techniques you've got in the book and that you bring to life in modern words and modern terms, you know, they are technologies. They are ways to navigate in this realm to get there,
Mhm.
right?
I think yes, and anything that we can do that's going to help us remove distortion
Hmm.
and integrate truth
Hmm.
is valuable.
Hmm.
And yeah, I agree. I see so many different people of different religions experiencing their divinity in so many different ways.
Hmm.
And how people are going through the process is unique to each individual. But like what we were talking about, there are the general, oh yeah, we got to let go of the negative thought patterns and the limiting beliefs and the untrue constructs that we grew up in.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and
And I love the Sue's approach,
yeah,
opening up the channels to receive, because people can get into this perpetual healing loop where they think they've got to heal forever. And it's like, no,
yeah.
now what I'm seeing most is people, it's like there was one of the fellows that I was following. I forget what his name is, but he was talking about how he would take people into a room and it'd be a whole group of people and he'd be like, all right, now we're going to release some anger. And people would like grab their pillows and they'd scream into the pillows for like 45 minutes.
Mm.
And then he'd be like, okay, now we're going to release grief and sorrow. And
Hmm.
they would release grief and sorrow and they'd go on for like an hour. And then he'd say, okay, now we're going to experience joy. And they were like, they lasted like 10 minutes and they were like, okay, well, what now?
Yeah.
So now what we're facing is not so much, I don't think, the letting go, although it's definitely a part of what
Hmm.
we're all going through right now. But now, for so many of us, we're acclimating to what it feels like to be whole, to be complete, to to
Yeah.
to be more joyful.
Yeah.
It's foreign.
Yeah. No, it takes both, right? You have to release and you have to figure out how to
Mhm.
receive.
Yeah.
It was interesting with Beth Ellen. Um, she she was like she's like oh I found this fascia spot where these organs are like not moving and
Mhm.
they're not able to, like, they're kind of stuck in place. And she's like, and she started talking about it. She's like, oh, this is like your early 20s, a big trauma that you had to deal with. And then she said, oh, this is like a 5 or 6 year old. And later she said, I rarely get into what I'm seeing, but because you've done so much work, you had no emotional charge tied to those stuck spots. And she's like, so it's just like the body hasn't released all those energies fully, but you've processed it. You've done all the work up here, but now we just need to get this to release
out of the body,
which was pretty wild. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, you had no charge with it, so I felt I could speak to it. And I was like, yeah, no, I was completely, calm and just listening, and like, I'm just trying to figure out, how do I release? How do I do that? I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's a very good example of how do I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good stuff.
Beautiful stuff.
Well, Dani, so fun to have you on the show. I think this will be a great episode for people to check out Dani's book. This should be a bestseller. Everyone should get this because, and you've got in here, I noticed, like, you've got stuff that isn't always about plant medicine. Like, these techniques work whether you're doing breath work, whether you're just doing meditation, whether you're just experiencing conscious awareness. These things are like actually techniques that work for anything. Plant medicine is like an accelerant, right? So it's like you're experiencing a lot of stuff really quickly.
Yep.
In a very intense way.
Yeah.
But this stuff works, generally speaking. It doesn't need to include the psychedelics.
And now more and more people are hopping on my schedule, not because they want to do psychedelics, because they want help breaking their patterns, and they just want the support going through the awakening phases.
And you can break patterns in lots of different ways. I mean, the breath work we did with Christian Minton, I think his name is, that Greg Braden had at his retreat was extraordinary. And he had a gymnasium full of 220 people. And we were all on mats.
Yeah.
And we did an hour of intense breath work. And people were having plant-like medicine experiences.
Yes.
It doesn't last as long, but it can be as intense.
Yes.
And like things come up, and it was very intense.
Yeah.
We did it 2 days in a row. It was really powerful.
Just by sitting with yourself, like literally just sitting with yourself and being still, will allow whatever needs to come to the surface to come to the surface. Yeah. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.